Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, some car tips and tricks, open phones and texts, of course. And are you treating your car right when it comes to oil changes? Matt, on Wednesday, how many phone calls came to your shop for people who go, I'm headed out of town tomorrow. I need to get my oil changed. Can you guys squeeze me in today?
Probably about well, it's funny, David, probably about half a dozen, and it wasn't just Wednesday, it was leading up. Can I get in Tuesday? I need an oil change. Why do you need an oil change? Because I'm going out of town. No, you don't need an oil change to go out of town. You know what I mean? I think it's just the placebo effect of the oil change that makes everybody feel good about their car, but they're always rushing at the last minute. And not only is it the people at the last minute that need an oil change, a lot of people may know our buddy Steve Filmer back in the Channel 3 day. He calls me up, hey, Matt, need an oil change. Okay, no problem. I can get you in, Steve. He's just going, works downtown, and give him a ride. And on my ride, I'm like, so you traveling this week? What do you got going on Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah, we're heading out to San Diego tomorrow. Oh, in the car we're doing an oil change on. Oh, yeah. Hey, Steve, did you think maybe that might have been important to tell us? Now, he's driving a newer Toyota. It's got 100,000 miles on it. Yeah, he takes care of his car. I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, some of these people that came in, I said, just swing by. Let us check your oil. The last thing you want to do before you hit the road, I don't care if you got the best mechanic in the world. There's always a possibility for a defective part or something. Any elective procedure, don't do it before you go out of town. The day before, come on.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks before you head out of town. And it's funny how, you said placebo effect. Hey, I'm going to feel better about my car because it got some fresh juice in there. So, hey, it's going to work better, Yeah. But really.
As many people who got a speeding ticket right after washing their car. They wash your car and they go out for a test drive, make sure it runs good still.
Oh, they always run better after, yeah. It's true.
So same thing, though. Just, so now we have Christmas coming. We have our second round. So for those of you who are traveling, now's the time. You're sitting there, you're looking at the calendar when you're going to leave and what you're going to do and what hotel or resort or family or friend you're going to stay with and all that. Then you think, oh, okay, next on that list, people, write it down today, get the car checked.
Yep.
And black that calendar out like Dave's 2 weeks ahead of time.
And buy some nice Christmas gifts for the mechanic in your life. We appreciate those ahead of time, Actually, cash works because the right size and the right color.
Right.
But anyway, so oil changes, though, how often should you be doing them? And we could talk about this 10 ways till Tuesday or 500 ways till Tuesday.
I know.
But what is the need for oil changes? How much an oil change cost? And how much an oil change should cost? Well, that's a little bit deceiving because everyone gives it away as sort of a lost leader. Some more than others. Some are, what kind of oil are they shooting in your car for a $14 oil change? I don't know.
I think that, depending on what kind of car everybody's driving out there is, this may register differently with some people. I mean, most cars, let's just talk about the overwhelming majority of the cars that are the Honda Accord, the Toyota Camry, the Dodge Journey, the American cars, you're not talking, your Hyundai, your Kia, that kind of stuff. Most cars, it should be about what the cost of an oil change should be, they should be hundreds of dollars, but they never will be.
Right.
So let's just cop to that right now. But I think that we have like three kind of different levels of oil changes. I'm not talking about synthetic or conventional oil, but you have that group of cars that's around $40, right? Would you agree, Dave?
$40.
$40 to $45 is the most common thing for most of your cars. And then you get into your mid-range cars that may require synthetic, like a new Camry is a synthetic, or some new Kias, and you get into the Volkswagen and Audis. And then
kick that up to $60 to $80.
$60, $80 for some of your four-cylinder Europeans. And then you get into your European cars and some of the higher-end Lexus and the big V8s and straight six-cylinder engines. And then those are going to be in the $150 range.
Right, yeah, 120, 150, somewhere in there.
And the filters are typically more expensive. There's some more labor to go along with them. And then in some cases, they have a, quote, special oil. I wouldn't call it special because we deal with it all the time.
Right.
So if you never deal with it, yeah, it's special. But they have an oil that's specific to that car that has to have certain. So that's kind of what you should be anticipating.
Well, let's talk about that $40 oil change.
The most common.
Your mainstream cars. I mean, a $40 oil change is typically going to be a synthetic blend. And I like to argue that we're probably on the fence between going to full synthetic on everything.
Yes.
It's just a better oil, and really the price difference as the conventional oils have gotten better and as the blends in some ways have gotten better. It's just like the price difference between the two is not that much. We may just shoot it full synthetic and everything. I say
Exactly.
shoot because we got a gun that
Yeah.
pumps it in.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing at my shop in Virginia Auto. We're trying to get away from that 3,000 mile oil change. And so that's the next question: is how often?
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at your owner's manual. And I say that for the low end. You don't want to go over the minimum. There's still some Dodge products that are out there that say 6,000 miles. I see some still at 3,000 miles. If the manufacturer says 3,000 miles, you got to do it if you want to maintain the warranty, because you don't want to give them any out. But otherwise, Dave, we're trying to transition to that 5,000 mile oil change, and I don't like to see anything more than 7,500.
Well, think about the 5,000 mile oil change. And one thing I think as a consumer you can be aware of, you need to be aware of what kind of oil goes in your car. What is required in your car, and that's going to be in your owner's manual. You can find it there, because some of these places that have this like $14 oil change, I don't even know what they're shooting in the.
Well,
some of them are
it's
doing
just-
recycled oil. I mean, there's some really crap oil out there. And I
Well, I was just going to go somewhere, and you shut me down a little bit. But to some point, the brand doesn't matter.
because there is standards.
There are standards. So if they have this seal of approval on them, which most places now, you talk about that recycled oil. Valvoline has some next gen oil.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the problem with that? When it first came out, they had it priced too low. Nobody bought it because they thought it was too cheap. They doubled the price, and the sales went through the roof.
Really?
Yeah, just because it was the perception that it was used oil, and when in fact it was good oil. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if they still have that. I haven't seen much about that. I think it just kind of went away. It didn't take off. They didn't think the greenies and like that we're going to go for that. Did but the 5,000 mile oil change. Dave, I say 7,500 tops. A lot of your newer cars, you got the BMW, the Mercedes, and they want to remember they're marketing to busy professionals that want a high end car. They want the car to be a convenient ownership, and it isn't convenient at times to go to the shop. So if you only have to go in once a year with the car, that's great marketing. But in reality, if you're going to keep that, and hey, if you're going to lease the car and keep it for 3 years and ditch it and get a new one, hell with it. Change the oil.
Somebody else's problem.
Yeah, change the oil when the light comes on. But if you're going to keep that car and have that thing for 7 or 10 years and drive it 100,000, 150,000 miles, you want to make sure you're shortening that oil change, even if it comes with a free oil change.
The other thing that really plays into this, you take some of these cars, let's just take a Honda Civic, right? Holds 4 quarts of oil.
Yeah.
Let's say it has an oil consumption problem, right? Well, we don't necessarily want to go out to the full extent of the oil change if it's burning, a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. We're going to run out of oil before it ever gets changed. We need to find out what's burning oil. But one question I think that people should ask is, hey, can you guys check my oil level? Let me know what it is before you do the oil change to know if you have an oil consumption problem, because I think most people are unaware of that.
Or better yet, if you don't know what your oil level is, ask the shop when you go in, when you're making your appointment, can you spend 5 minutes with me and show me how to check my oil?
That's true.
So you know for yourself. But you're right, Dave, the oil capacities, and there's more and more new cars that we're seeing low on oil.
Mm-hmm.
And the manufacturer's saying it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of snake oils and additives and special sauces and juices to put in cars. We've had some luck with some of them. The BG products that we use. We've had Minis and Volkswagens burn in oil. Problem is they burn a little bit of oil, and then that oil gets down on the oil control ring and hardens that and crystallizes or carbons up. And now the oil control ring isn't working, and you got high combustion temperature, so you're facilitating the burning and consumption of more oil, and it doesn't stop. So we can actually clean that up and solve that problem in some cases. You can't fix a mechanical problem. I mean, if a ring is broken, a ring is broken.
Right.
Put all the super sauce you want in it, but if it's carboned up and the manufacturers, they design these things right, but they can't. I mean, their laboratory is perfect world conditions,
For sure.
not real world.